Hello guys, welcome to Aim Higher Club. So today we are going to talk about a few questions. They are matching type questions. In IELTS, there are four types of matching questions. Match the headings, match the paragraphs, match the names or categories, and then match the sentence endings. Uh, Today we'll focus on the first one, match the headings. For some students, it can be a real headache, but if we follow certain strategies, if we have certain things in our mind, uh, they are not so difficult, and you are going to find that today when we are going to solve this passage here. So I have this passage from McGraw-Hill's book. Without further ado, let's jump in. Okay, so today I'm going to follow strategy one, which is known as keyword strategy. So in this, we are going to focus on the words which we already know, and there could be some words which we don't really know. So we don't really need to panic here. We can simply guess the meaning and we can try to make an educated guess using the context. Okay, so the first heading it says the uses of red. So there's no problem. We already know what uses are, but we could be looking for some synonyms like applications uh, or word forms used. And then for the second one, there are two parts to it, Russian and English views of red, which means we might be looking at a passage and it will have two parts. Uh, there could be Russian views and then there could be English views, and there are chances that both Russian and English people have same views, and then there are chances that they can have different views. Okay, then moving on to third, red and beauty. So here they are going to talk about uh, association of red color with beauty. And then the fourth is optics of red. That can be the tricky one. Optics, if we know, uh, some of us might be aware of it, and those who are not aware of it, I would like to link it to opticians, or whenever we go to some glass store, whenever we want to buy goggles, or whenever we want to buy glasses, and then we might see this word there, opticals, optics, opticians. So you can keep that in mind. It might be easier for you that way. So it basically it's related to vision, how the thing is appearing, what's the appearance of that, how does it look. Okay, then the fifth one is straightforward again. It's red and religion. So whenever they will be associating red with religion, we can easily mark that answer. And then hazards of red. So hazard, it basically means dangers, risk. In Hindi we can say khatra, or in Punjabi that's also the same thing, khatra. And red and politics. Again, politics, very common word. You might be aware of it. Portrait painters who copied icons. So here, portrait painters. Portrait here it means portrait is basically a painter a painter who likes to paint the faces of people. So focuses on little details. That's a portrait. And then who copied icons. So here they are going to talk about painters who have copied icons. Copied icons here means uh, something important, or something of significance, something of importance, of value. Red and art, and here they are going to associate red color with art. And the last one is revolutionary painters. So you'll see that there are two options, 8 and 10. They both talk about painters. One is about portrait painters who copied icons, and then 10th is about revolutionary painters. Revolutionary painters means uh, who went against the law. Moving on to passage B. So I have highlighted few words here. In the first line, there is a line that says its effects on a viewer is striking. So basically, they are relating it to how it appeared. And then in the second line, it says it also intensifies colors. Again, intensifies means making something more stronger. Means to say uh, colors. It was used to make colors look darker or more stronger in that sense, if I make sense. So again, we are talking about how it looked or how it changed the appearance of certain colors. And then in the last line, they have summarized it by saying which accounts for the popularity of red and green combinations in Russian painting. So that explains the popularity of red and green combinations in Russian painting. So it makes it very straightforward. The whole passage is about how it looked, how it intensified, and then why was it popular, why red and green combinations were popular. So that's why I have made notes there, all about vision, how it looks. Okay, let's move on to passage C. So Russians love red. In the applied art, it predominates bowls, boxes, trays, wooden spoons, and distaff for spinning all feature red, as do children's toys, decorative figurines, Easter eggs, embroidered clothes, and garments. In the fine arts, red, white, and gold form the basis of much icon painting. So some students can be confused here. They might look for answers like red and art, but here they have given examples of how the color was used. So in the applied art, these things were made. There are names there, bowls, boxes, trays, wooden spoons, and up till garments. And then in the fine arts, red, white, and gold, it formed the basis of much icon painting. Okay, some of you might still be confused. Some of you might be thinking that red and art can be the answer here. Uh, for those of you, I would suggest mini strategy here. You can keep both as your answers for now. You can write what was the number here. So you can say one, the uses of red, and then nine, red and art. You can mark both of them as your answers or as your potential answers. When we'll read further, we might have a better idea of this passage, and then we can mark the right answer. Or uh, one of them will automatically belong to some other passage, and that would make it easier. Next one's easier, actually, because from the very first line, you can see words which are directly referring to a religion. In pre-Christian times, then second reference Christianity, third reference Christ or saints, fourth reference Christian, fifth reference Christ and the angels, and the last reference to the concept of Christianity, heaven and hell. So here they haven't talked about heaven, but they have said something about fires of hell. So it makes it pretty straightforward. We can easily mark red and religion. It is a very long paragraph here. It has three parts. It's divided into three sections. Uh, but the longer passages are the simpler ones. The longer the passage is, the easier it is. That's what my experience is. Because in the longer passage, some students they don't read it properly, or they do not look for the right words. They are getting confused by difficult words which do not mean anything to us because we do not need to focus on each and every word. Fine. So we can get a gist of the passage by looking at first few lines and last few lines, like what the writer is trying to say, how the writer is moving from one idea to another idea, and after that, with the uh, heading type questions, then we can look for similarities within those passages, like what kind of words are getting repeated. Of course, you won't be getting the same word again and again, so you would be getting synonyms of them, you would be getting related words, you'd be getting uh, words which make sense to that topic. They might not be the synonyms of single words, right? Uh, in this case, you will see words like major figures, representation, skin tone, portrait, depicted in, then portrait of Yakov Turgenev, portraits of women in Russian art. Then those women they were wearing a red shawl. So they finished it with that. And so the first passage it has different words. All of them are They fall under the umbrella term art. So major figures. So major figures is basically referring to art form here. And then representation. Representation is again we can say paintings. It's a synonym of paintings. Then skin tones. So they are talking about portraits here and about the skin tone. Again, it's an example of art. Then portrait of Nikolai Gogol. So here they are talking about a painting of a person. Then they are often depicted in dashing red velvet coats. So who are depicted in dashing red velvet coats? Wealthy aristocrats. So again, they are talking about a painting in which wealthy aristocrats were shown to wear red velvet coats. Okay. Then portraits of Yakub Turgenev in 1696. Then another portrait of Admiral Ivan Pelagin in the mid 1760s. And portraits of women wearing red shawl. So all in all, we can say that they are talking about art here. Now we simply need to find more words in the next two parts. So in the very first line, there's a word like Russian fine art. Then the whole passage is all about painting. I have highlighted one word here, the women in the 1915 painting, and then we are talking about that painting there. The last one here, Russian avant-garde painters. So of the early 20th century, again they are talking about painters here. Then they are talking about certain uh, paintings. So first one was groundbreaking white, then red square, then 1915 head of a youth, 1925 painting fantasy. So these are basically the names of the paintings. So then we can summarize it to us that they are talking about art here. There is nothing much else here, and it also uh, reminds me of uh, the paragraph B. It was, I guess, paragraph C, where we were looking for the right option. So we marked two answers. One was the uses of red, and the second was red and art. So now I think it will make more sense to you that red and art, we can simply put it here. And now it's clear that the paragraph C was all about the uses of red. Okay, so when we first read paragraph F, we can easily locate words like political movement, communism, symbol of revolution, continue this revolutionary tradition. So from the first part of this paragraph, we have found certain words which have direct connection to words like revolution, revolutionary. So we had option 10. If you remember that option 10, it said revolutionary painters. Okay. So some students, uh, those who are in hurry of finishing their test or those who are in hurry of marking their answers, so they might easily put down number 10 as their answer. But those who are little watchful, they might be looking for second word, which was next to revolutionary, which said painters. So in the first passage, there is no reference about painters. So it's not about revolutionary painters. It's about revolution. Yes, of course, revolution they have talked about. They have talked about how it was used in a revolutionary movement, but no reference of revolutionary painters. So we need to keep that in mind. And then we'll focus on the second paragraph. Did it say revolutionary painters? So Soviet poster artists and book illustrators, they also use red. So here they are talking about poster artists and book illustrators. They have also used swaths of red. Some painters have been discredited for their political associations. So their political associations uh, did not help these social realist painters. Their political associations did not help them. When we skim the next few lines, it says something like Nikolai Rutkovsky, Stalin at Kirov's coffin, Alexander Gerasimov, Heim to October. So they're talking about certain paintings here, but nothing about revolutionary paintings. So they're basically talking about political associations. Option 7 is the right answer, red and politics. Now moving on to the last passage, paragraph G. So in paragraph G, you must have noticed there are three colors which I have used to highlight it. The first color is yellow, which says all about English view. Then the second color is connector but, which says which tells us that there is a change of thought, which means there will be a different opinion. And then it talks about Russian, which is in green color. So it talks about Russian views. We had that option there, English and Russian views of red. So that's again a straightforward one. So that's why you can see those notes on the side of it, on the left side of the passage, English versus red views.